This is lesson 2-2B from the Algebra Readiness textbook. For today's lesson, you will need a sharpened pencil and your notes packet. Pause the video, grab your supplies, and then work your study guide problems. When you've completed them, press continue. All right, as a review from yesterday, we learned about the distributive property. The distributive property is the fourth property that we've learned about that has helped us to do mental math easier. The distributive property allows us to break numbers apart or rename them to make mental math easier. In this example, number 1, 7 times 509. You could rename 509 as 500 plus 9. Then using the distributive property, I take 7 times 500 and 7 times 9. Oops, let's rewrite that. 7 times 500 plus 7 times 9. That is 3,500 plus 63, which is 3,563. All right, in a similar way, we can rename 899 as 900 minus 1. And then when I use the distributive property, I can take 9 times 900, which is 8,100, minus 9. And so 8,100 minus 9 is 8,091. The next problem, I could rename 1,005 as 1,000 plus 5. Then I use the distributive property to multiply each part by 5. 5 times 1,000 first, and then 5 times 5 second. 5 times 1,000 is 5,000, and 5 times 5 is 25. The sum is 5,025. Hopefully you found that to be easy and just a review of what we learned yesterday. Today, we're going to build on our understanding of the distributive property, and we're going to use the distributive property to help us solve problems that involve variables. In order to build our foundational understanding, we're going to go back to using algebra tiles. Now, up until now, you already have learned about the negative tile, which represents one negative or a negative 1, and the yellow tile, which represents a positive 1. There is a new tile. It is called an X tile, and that's new for us today. So an X tile represents a variable. In this example, I want to take 3 times 2x plus 5. That is 3 groups of 2x plus 5. So really what I want to do is start off by making one group of 2x plus 5. So 2x looks like this, and then plus 5 looks like this. Now I want 3 such groups. So I would go ahead and, let's see, copy. Let's see if I can do this. Here's another group of 3x plus 5. And here is a third group of 3x plus 5. So what am I left with? Let's count. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 x's. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 6x plus 15. Now, this is as simple as I can get it. I cannot call these 21x. I don't have 21 x's. I have 6 x's and I have 15 positive tiles. So 6x plus 5. Now notice, and this is where we're going to get to, do you see that I could take 3 times 2x to get 6x and 3 times 5 to get 15. That is using the distributive property in the same way that we used it yesterday. The mistake that some kids like to make is they like to combine those and call it 21x. But you can see here with the algebra tiles that you do not have 21x. You have 6 x's and 15 positive units. All right. Use your algebra tiles on your paper and model these 3 problems. Pause the video and give it a try. Before you pause that video, I want to mention that with 4a, we want to change subtraction to adding the opposite. So let's call this 4 times 2x plus negative 3. All right, now pause the video and try to give these a good drawing. All right, so this first one, I want 4 groups of 2x minus 3. In my drawing, I'm going to use just sticks. A stick is going to represent the x tile. So 2x, that's 2 x's, and then 3 negative tiles. 1, 2, 3. Now, I need to take, I need to take this, if I can, and I need to make 4 groups of it. Here's a second group. Here's a third group. And here's a fourth group. So what do I have all together? This represents 2x minus 3, and there are 4 groups of it. So what I have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8x. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 negative tiles. 8x minus 12, or 8x plus negative 12. Notice if you had used the distributive property, like we learned it yesterday, 4 times 2x is 8x, and 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. All right, to model the next one, you should have gotten a similar scenario where you have x plus 4. So to model x plus 4, I would have one line and then 4 positives. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is x plus 4. But I have 3 such groups of 1x plus 4. And so I'm going to make a second group and a third group. Now I have modeled 3 times x plus 4. Notice that you could write a 1 in front because the coefficient of x, if there isn't one written, is 1. There's 1x there. So I would encourage you, anytime you see a variable without a number or a coefficient in front of it, to squeak a 1 in there so that it reminds you that that's 1x. So now let's write down what we have. I have 1, 2, 3 x's, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 positive tiles. Now let's see what that would look like if we did the distributive property like we did yesterday. 3 times 1x, 3x. 3 times 4, positive 12. 3x plus 12. Now, you should be getting to the point where you don't need to draw this out as tiles, and you also should be getting to the point where you're not going to call this 15x. You can see from the graph above or from the modeling above that there are not 15 x's there. There are 2 different groups of tiles. I've got x tiles and I've got unit tiles. All right, let's model the last one. I've got 3 sticks or 3 x's, plus I have 1 positive tile. So when I remake that, I have 2 such groups. So here's my second group. What do I have all together? Well, I've got 6 x tiles, and I've got 2 positive tiles. So 6x plus 2. Using the distributive property, I could take 2 times 3x and get 6x, and 2 times 1 and get this 2 right here. Okay, let's try to quit doing the tiles and just make sure that you're comfortable calling this 6x plus 2 and leaving it as two numbers, or leaving it as an addition problem and not getting it down to just one single number answer. Let's try this one without tiles. This is also in your notes, so do this one with me. -5 times 4x minus 3. Well, when I have a number outside of set of parentheses, it means multiply. So I need to multiply -5 by everything in that set of parentheses, right up until that end of the parentheses end. To do that, I need to multiply each part by the -5, just like yesterday. So this would be -5 times 4x. And then let's rename this subtraction as, I'm going to go back. Let's rename this as -5 times 4x plus -3. There. Now when we do the distributive property, it'll make it a little easier for us to understand. -5 times 4x plus -5 times -3, and then I can simplify that. -5 times 4x is -20, plus -5 times -3, a negative times a negative makes a positive 15. So your answer is -20x plus 15. Okay, if that one confused you, pause the video, look it over one more time, and make sure that you understand. Let's move on to the next problem. Here, I am multiplying 2x plus 5 7 times. So I have 7 groups of that. I am going to multiply each part by 7. 7 times 2x plus 7 times 5. 7 times 2x is 14x, plus 7 times 5, which is 35. I cannot get that any simpler. I cannot call that 49x, because I wouldn't have 49 x's. I have 14 x's and 35 positive tiles. So I just leave the answer 14x plus 35. All right? Pause the video, give these 3 a try, and come on back to compare your answer. All right. Hopefully you got the following answers: 14 minus 21d, 18m plus 3, and -15t plus 6. Let's demonstrate how to do that. You would take 2 times, first you should rename all subtraction as adding the opposite. So 2 times 7 plus 2 times -3d. And so hopefully you see that this is the wrong answer. And you got 14 plus -6d, or 14 minus 6d, because subtracting and adding the opposite mean the same thing. So the 2 highlighted answers mean the same thing. I'm sorry if I freaked you out with the wrong answer here. All right, let's try the next problem. 3 times 6m is 18m. 3 times 1 is 3, so 18m plus 3, and that's the best I can do. The next one, this is a subtraction one, so let's rewrite this. -3 times 15t, change subtraction to adding, and then take the opposite of +2, which is -2. Now I'm going to distribute -3 times 5t and -3 times -2. -3 times 5t gives me 15t, plus negative 3 times negative 2 gives me a positive 6. So negative 15 plus 6. All right, we need some more practice with this. This is not something that's super easy for everybody. Pause the video, try these 5 problems. Come on back to compare when you're confident that you're done. All right, so here we go. Let's try these. I'm first going to reveal all of these answers so you can compare. And then I'm going to give you the rundown of how to do each one. First, negative 3 times 2t and negative 3 times 6. Negative 3 times 2t plus negative 3 times 6. That gives me negative 6t plus negative 18, or just negative 6t minus 18, because subtracting and adding the opposite mean the same thing. The next one, negative 7 times negative 3n and negative 7 times 2. Negative 7 times negative 3n is positive 21n, because a negative times a negative is a positive. Negative 7 times 2 is a negative 14. All of these integer rules from chapter 1 are coming into play. So you could call that 21n plus negative 14 or 21n minus 14. Make sure you're good with knowing that these two mean the same thing. The next one, I see that this is a subtraction problem. So we're going to rename this as adding the opposite. So let's distribute negative 7 times 4 and negative 7 times negative t. Now, t, let's squeeze in the 1 if there is no number before it. Negative 7 times 4 is negative 28. Negative 7 times negative 1t gives me a positive 7t. All right, the next one. This is adding, so we don't have to change anything. Negative 3 times 5y plus negative 3 times 8. Negative 3 times 5y is negative 15y, and then negative 3 times 8 is negative 24, or just call it negative 15 minus 24. The last one. Hopefully you're getting the hang of this. The first thing I see is that this does not have a coefficient, so let's squeeze that 1 in there. That's negative, or 1m. So we have negative 5 times a negative 1m plus negative 5 times 6. Negative 5 times negative 1 is a positive 5m. Negative 5 times 6 is a negative 30. And so my answer is 5m plus negative 30, or just 5m minus 3. All right, last problem. Hopefully you're able to do this one all on your own. Make sure that you pause the video right now, give this one a try, see if you can handle it. If not, I would encourage you to come to one of the meetings, the office hour meetings, and talk with me, or rewatch the video. It never hurts to do more examples. Okay, so giving this one a try, the first thing I see is my letter, my variable, does not have a coefficient, so I'm going to write 1c. 1 times c is the same as c. I also notice that this is a subtraction problem, so I am going to rewrite this as adding the opposite. Now I'm going to distribute negative 8 times 6 and negative 8 times negative 1c. And when I get my answer, I get negative 48, because negative 8 times 6 is negative 48, plus negative 8 times negative 1 is a positive 8c. All right. Your assignment is page 76, 22 through 33. Make sure you show all of your work with each problem, and correct your work and submit it after you fix your mistake.